It was a busy morning at the UN General Assembly in New York. Leaders from around the world were gathered to discuss urgent global issues such as food security, climate change, and international cooperation. Ibrahim Traoré, the young president of Burkina Faso, took the stage with his calm but firm posture. He was not just an emerging African leader. He had become a symbol of resistance and self-sufficiency on a continent historically marked by external dependence. While adjusting the microphone, Traoré began his speech with a quiet but determination voice. Ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the nations of the world would like to share an initiative that we are implementing. Burkina Faso, an initiative that seeks not only to transform our country, but also redefine relationships between people of Africa and the rest of the world. He paused, allowing his words to be absorbed. Then he continued, for decades, many African countries have depended on foreign aid to ensure food security. Programs like USAID have been crucial to millions of people. However, the time has come to ask, does this help really free, frequent, or perpetuate our dependence? The audience was silent, attentive to Traoré's words. He went on. Burkina Faso, with the support of our regional partners, is launching an innovative program, Rice to Everyone. In the coming months, we will start exporting rice to neighboring West African countries, replacing part of food aid traditionally provided by international organizations, Asians, including USAID. The room was total silent. Many delegates exchanged surprised looks. Some applauded shyly, while others seemed uncomfortable with the statement. Traoré explained that the program was not only about agricultural production, but also about autonomy and dignity. Our goal is clear. We want Africa to feed Africa. We want our children to grow up knowing that they can trust their own land and their own work, not external programs conditioned by political interests. At the end of his speech, he concluded with a powerful message. External aid has its in place, but it cannot be a permanent solution. True transformation begins when we take control of our destiny, and that's what we are doing here. The applause were deafening among those present. Donald Trump, who watched the speech from afar, frowned, visibly surprised by Traoré's audacity. He muttered something to his advisors before leaving the hall, clearly intrigued by what he had just heard. After Ibrahim Traoré's impactful speech on the UN, Donald Trump could not hide his surprise. He had attended the presentation of Burkina Faso's president with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. For Trump, who has always defended a pragmatic view of international relations, the idea of an African country to take control of their food security and replace programs like USAID was unprecedented, and to some extent challenging. Back at his office in New York, Trump called on an immediate meeting with his advisors. Who is this guy? He asked, pointing to a picture of Traoré projected on the screen. How do we think he can just replace something the U.S. has done for decades? His advisors try to explain the Traoré's program was not just about competing with USAID, but about promoting African self-sufficiency. However, Trump was clearly bothered. He saw Traoré's announcement as a direct challenge to the influence of the United States on the African continent. This is an insult, said Trump, swinging his head. We helped these countries for years, and now they want to dispense with us. This won't be like this. Meanwhile, international media began to reverberate Traoré's speech. Newspapers and television networks highlighted the courage and view of Burkina Faso's president. Political analysts debated whether the Rice for All program could really work, or if it was just an idealistic rhetoric. However, the most striking criticism came from experts in international development. Some praised Traoré for their innovative approach, while others questioned the economic viability of the project. Burkina Faso is taking a huge risk, one economist said in an interview. Producing enough rice to export requires massive investments and infrastructure that the country does not yet have. Despite the criticism, Traoré remained firm in his decision. He knew the program would face challenges, but he also believed it was a necessary step to free Africa from external dependence. During a press conference, he responded to criticism calmly but determination. Yes, we know there are challenges, but we also know that it is possible to overcome them. We are already reaping positive results on our community farms, and our production is growing rapidly. We are not asking for permission. We are building our future. Trump, on the other hand, decided to act. He announced that the U.S. would intensify their efforts to maintain their influence on Africa, promising to increase investments in food aid and infrastructure programs. However, his message was received with skepticism by many African leaders who began to see Traoré's initiative as an example to follow. In an exclusive interview, Trump was asked about Traoré's program. He answered with his characteristic style, "Does this guy think he can do better than us? Good luck to him. But let's see how long it lasts without our help." Trump's words echoed around the world, but instead of intimidating Traoré, they only strengthened their determination. He knew he was in a battle not only against Trump, but against a global system that often underestimated Africa's potential. In the following months, TR began visiting neighboring countries to discuss partnerships and expand the Rice to All program. He also launched an educational campaign to make local communities aware of the importance of sustainable agriculture. We are not just planting rice, he said during a visit to a community farm. We are planting hope. We are showing the world that Africa can eat alone. The initiative quickly gained popular support. Many young people began to be interested in agriculture, seeing it as an opportunity to contribute to the development of their countries. For Trump, that was a completely new scenario. He was used to dealing with leaders looking for his approval. But TR was different. He was not asking for anything. I was building something of its own. The Rice for All program quickly gained traction in Burkina Faso and began to expand to neighboring countries such as Mali, Niger, and Ivory Coast with the support of small local farmers and strategic investments in sustainable agricultural technology. Rice production has grown exponentially. TR had created a regional network of agricultural cooperatives, ensuring that profits stay in the hands of local communities and not stop in foreign corporations. The response of African leaders was unanimous. They saw the program as an inspiring example of self-sufficiency. During a summit of the African Union, several presidents highlighted the positive impact of TR's project. He is proving that Africa can feed herself, said an African leader. During a speech, we are tired of depending on foreign aid. It's time to take control of our destination. Meanwhile, Donald Trump continued to observe developments with suspicion. He ordered his team to evaluate the impact of the program and identify ways to regain U.S. influence on the region. However, the more he tried to intervene, the more resistance he found. AFC Amman countries were united in their support for the TR program, seeing it as an opportunity to redefine their relationships with the world. TR knew that the success of the program depended not only on agricultural production, but also on the education and training of local communities. He launched a campaign called Sowing the Future, which trained young farmers in modern cultivation techniques and natural resources management. The goal was to create a new generation of agricultural leaders who could continue to expand the program. During a visit to a community farm in Mali, Dr. met a young farmer named Amadou who had abandoned his studies to help his family. Now, thanks to the program, he was learning advanced irrigation and harvesting techniques. Mr. President, Amadou said, thrilled, "Thank you, I have a new chance. Now I can dream of being someone." TR smiled proudly. "You're already someone I am. Outed, and you are proving that when we give people the right tools, they can conquer the world." In the following months, the program began to attract international attention. Humanitarian and environmental organizations praised the initiative, highlighting it as a model of sustainable development. Even some initial critics have begun to recognize the positive impact of the project. However, Trump was not yet convinced. He decided to visit Burkina Faso in person to better understand the program and perhaps find ways to minim. When he arrived in the country, he was received by Traoré in a simple but significant ceremony. Mr. President, Trump said, trying to look cordial, "I would like to see how this program works." Traoré smiled and replied, "Of course, Mr. Trump. But remember, this is not about competition, it's about collaboration." The two spent the day visiting community farms, agricultural schools, and food distribution centers. Trump was impressed by the program's efficiency, but also uncomfortable with the idea that an African country could reach so much without us help. "This is impressive," Trump admitted during a private conversation with TR. "But do you really think we are not replacing anyone?" TR replied calmly, "We are creating our own solutions, and we hope other countries will follow our example." Trump didn't know what to say. He realized that he was facing a leader who did not seek approval or recognition. He was building something bigger than any political dispute. The impact of the Rice for All program went beyond African borders. It has become a global symbol of such as self-sufficiency, dignity, and collaboration can transform nations. Leaders of developing countries have begun to see Burkina Faso not only as an African example, but as a universal inspiration for facing eating and economic crisis without depending exclusively on external aid. Donald Trump, who had indeed seen the program with skepticism, began to realize something unexpected. TR's project was generating tangible results. Reports showed that agricultural production in Burkina Faso and their partner countries had increased significantly, reducing imports and strengthening local economies. In addition, the program was creating jobs and opportunities for young people, many of whom were once unemployed or migrated to other continents for better conditions. During a live interview, Trump was Asked about his current opinion about DR's program after a brief break, he replied, "I have to admit this guy is doing something impressive. He is proving that it is possible to create local solutions to global problems. This is something we can all learn." Trump's words surprised many, but also highlighted how far TR had arrived. He was not just transforming his country, it was changing the narrative about Africa on the international scene. Back to Burkina Faso, Traoré was still focused on the future. He knew there was still a lot of work to be done, but also realized that the Rice for All program had planted a powerful seed. During a ceremony to celebrate the first 5 years of the project, he gave an exciting speech against a crowd composed of farmers, youth community leaders, and international representatives. "When we started this program," he said, his voice embargoed by emotion, "many doubted us. They said it was impossible, that we were dreaming too loud, but here we are proving that when we work together, there is no limit to what we can achieve." Udi, he called Amadou the young farmer he had met during a visit to Mali, to take the stage. Now Amadou was one of the main coordinators of regional agricultural cooperatives, training hundreds of young people in sustainable techniques. "Mr. President," said Amadou, visibly thrilled, "thank you, I have a purpose. And now thanks to this program, other people have it too." Traoré embraced Amadou before the audience, publicly demonstrating the deep bond that had formed between them. "This is the true legacy of what we are building," he said. "These are not numbers or reports, they are transformed lives, they are dreams fulfilled." In the following months, the program continued to expand its reach, inspiring other African countries to release similar initiatives. Africa was starting to feed alone, proving that it was possible to overcome decades of external dependence. For Donald Trump, that was a moment of reflection. He realized that leadership is not just about power or influence, it is about recognizing and supporting ideas that can change the world. In a letter sent to TR, he wrote, "Dear President TR, you taught me something important, how true greatness comes from creating solutions that benefit people, not just governments. Congratulations on what you got. The world needs more leaders like you. With respect, Donald J. Trump." The letter was widely publicized, symbolizing a new chapter in relations between the U.S. and Africa. For Traoré, that was not just a political victory, it was proof that when leaders come together around shared values, the world can become a better place. As he watched the rice fields blooming under the African sun, TR felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew that there were still challenges ahead, but also realized that every small step was leading the continent toward a brighter future.